Fucking with Trey.
Get that paper, told that Glock, that's how we live. Yeah, my life's a gamble, I pray I don't get killed. They can't believe I got the guap, this shit for real. Can't accept the fact my brother gone, I wanna kill. Yeah, I can't go for that shit don't sit right. Instead of cabin to the old nigga, I know what you live like. Ain't worried about all, just fuck these hoes and live life. I grown the drill, I'm smart enough, you gotta know how to kill.
When the Strikers return back to Blue Lock, they see that many from the U20 match are here as well. Jinpachi Ego describes all the trials that they've went through thus far and where that has led them now, as they'll now begin the Neo Egoist League, where their environment will dictate their future. With all their options now appearing, Isagi looked around wondering what suited him best, an environment just for him where he could claim victory over the world, becoming the next #1. A place that could produce a striker through results and logic. Isagi steps through the bigger doors, looking ahead and entering the Italy wing. Many follow him as they would enter, greeting their new mentor. Mark Snuffy greets them, asking what football means to them. Some would give their answers, with Isagi pondering, then telling him that it's life, a way of life, that is. So Snuffy asked him if he'd be dead if he lost the ability to play football, and Isagi nodded. In his terms, he would be. Snuffy then goes on to say that it's much more than that, as it can be a job. And he explains it further through his strategies, telling them that right now, they have 2 contenders for their leaders, in Isagi and Baru. He wonders who will come out on top, but Isagi ignores Baru. I see no one who stands in my way, but the masterclass strikers and the world-class players right now. Snuffy commends this statement, but then also explains that those around him will soon reach that level. Training begins for the Ubers, and many get familiar with each other, with Don Lorenzo actually trying to get close to Isagi. He says he thinks he's interesting as he was the ace of the U20 match. He wants to defend him, however he doesn't mind working with him either to accomplish a job set for them by their master. However, Isagi begins to tell him, that on top of that job he has his own on becoming #1, so he needs to get ready. Snuffy and Isagi actually do have a 1v1 before the Uber's first match, wherein that Isagi begins with the ball, dribbling, moving around the master defender. Nice moves, but you have to do more than that. Snuffy then blocks his path, going in for the steal. Isagi flicks the ball over his head and then traps it, shocking him. He's gotten good in just a short amount of time. Impressive. But this wasn't his best option. Snuffy then tries to block off his body, but Isagi spins around him and then stops, changing his pace to sprint right by him. Isagi would then look at him, saying that I'm done messing around. I'll show you right now why I'll become the next #1. The story of our protagonists then cuts to their first match in the Neo Egoist League, as they're seen on the field going up against Paris, who sends out Itoshi Rin first. Still, the Ubers begin with the ball, and Isagi sends it back, following the plan of Snuffy. This leads to Don Lorenzo running up the field and getting into a 1v1 versus Charles. The young prodigy is outsped for the moment, but he manipulates Lorenzo into running right into Choppy, who guards him close. However, this play, Isagi makes his presence known and makes his own move, and he gets the ball passed to him. With defenders on his back, Snuffy and Loki comment how this isn't the ideal situation for him to get a goal. Snuffy's eyes then begin to glow as he tells the young prodigy that Isagi is more special than they know it. Isagi holds his own, but then drops his shoulder, spinning right around him to get in sight of the goal. But there were still 2 defenders blocking his shot path. This is where he reveals a perfected curve shot that hits the top corner, going into the goal. Lorenzo and Aiku crowd Isagi, saying that he's incredible, but Rin was infuriated. This shot was on the same level, if not better than his brother's. PXG then responds, with Charles getting a goal through the use of Itoshi Rin and his new power shot, which would shock Isagi. But that lets both teams know who is the true ace. And seeing this firsthand, Don Lorenzo would choose to mark Rin, but Isagi stops him, saying that the real ace of this match was Charles. He explains it further, telling Lorenzo not to fully commit to him. Actually, instead, he needs to mark the passing lanes, as he has the speed to do so. This slight change in their strategy on the fly led to the next 2 goals for the Ubers team, as they were the winners. PXG and Charles couldn't get the ball through, especially if Nico, Lorenzo, Ryu were guarding the passing lanes. And Aiku, well, he was focused on Rin. Of course, these 2 goals are scored by Isagi, who uses a new power shot, similar to the one that his father was able to use. And then, a volley from a corner kick. Knowing that this may be one of their toughest matches, Isagi is actually excited for what's to come next in the Neo Egoist League, as it's going to push him to a new level. Playing against Charles actually did so as well, updating his own metavision to see the field even greater. The Ubers continue training in preparation for their next match against Spain, and this is where we see the king. Well, he returns, challenging Isagi for the starting position. Isagi looks at Snuffy, who tells Baru if he can steal the ball from Isagi once, then he'd be awarded what he wanted. The king's lion aura flared up as he charged right in at Isagi, who dodged him by dribbling, and then spun around him again. Baru's eyes would turn toward that direction, but Isagi was gone once again. Dancing around the self-proclaimed king, Isagi almost began laughing to himself. Toying with the defender wasn't his style at all, so let's make this quick. Isagi nutmegs Baru, and then goes through him, shooting, but Baru was right there, as his foot then blocks the path. "I'm not done with you yet, runt." Isagi lowers his head and then lifts it, showing metavision as he chops the ball, stealing Baru's signature move. And in this moment, the king is brought to the ground with an ankle breaker, and Isagi shoots a left-footed shot. Despair once again fills the air in the king's mind, as Snuffy claims that the true successor of the Ubers is the son of Jinpachi Ego, Isagi. What actually happens next is Snuffy and Isagi approach 2 players who will actually be critical in the next matches, Iki Nico and Shuto Sendo. Snuffy changes Sendo to the position of midfielder in order to create an outlet passer for Isagi and Lorenzo, while Nico will be used to read the passing lanes and potential attacks to a higher level. Snuffy trains Nico's vision, awakening metavision within the young player, but taking it to a higher level with his specific instruction. As for Sendo, Isagi takes him to his own training with himself and Lorenzo, as they would go through different simulations to make him an insane passer, as they would also go through the film of Charles and Hitoshi Sai to make him understand the passes that they desired in order to win the next match. And what's actually funny is that Lorenzo and Isagi become closer. They were then seen walking onto the stage of their next match, with Lorenzo leaning over with his smug smile and his gold teeth, asking Isagi who he should guard. And Isagi smiles. Well, I think we both know it's a no-brainer. Megumi Bachira is their ace, and I'm sure of it. You'll take him down easy, and we'll win. Lorenzo and his ego are shown as this match will begin. Spain works the ball down the field, but as they go to pass to Bachira, he's blocked off by Lorenzo, and the pass is intercepted by Iki Nico. Bachira's eyes widen as both defenders crack a smile. Nico then passes it to Sendo, who dribbles up the field, making his way around defenders before chipping it to Isagi, who jumps into the air, heading it into the net. Snuffy turns to Levino, telling him that his Ubers have evolved even further since their last match, so any data that they have on them is outdated. When FC Barca goes to counter in their next possession, they weren't able to even make it past the half-field mark, as Lorenzo gets the steal on Bachira, drawing the defenders in and then laughing. "I gotcha." He then drops off the pass to Isagi, who uses a direct shot to score another goal. The two would high-five, telling Spain that the Ubers are now taking over. The final goal is scored in the same fashion as the one before, with another hat trick for Isagi, taking him to rank number 1 on the leaderboard with the biggest offer, being now worth 35 million yen, and Hitoshi Ren right under him at 28 million. As Snuffy once again commends his team, but he tells him that their next match may be the hardest one yet, with Michael Kaiser and Alexis Ness Ryosuke Kira and Rinsuke Kunigami. Their offense was currently the best, but the Ubers had the best defense. While studying their next opponents, Isagi is the one to come up with a strategy that will throw them off completely. Once hearing it, Snuffy actually likes it, as everyone then turns and looks towards a very quiet player. Bastard Moonkin is then seen on the field, awaiting the Ubers, but to their shock, two players walk out leading them, Baru and Isagi. Since they haven't even seen Baru in action, they don't know what to expect at all, and with the two powerhouses leading them, this might be troublesome. The match then begins and Isagi runs out, ahead of Baru, but Baru moves around him. Defenders take note of that Isagi is getting in position, but Kaiser goes right by him, guarding Lorenzo. Made you move. Kaiser was confused, but then the pass is made to Sendo, who breaks down Ness, as he's shocked. What the hell? Since when could he dribble like that? As after the Spain matchup, Snuffy took it upon himself to actually improve Sendo's footwork to new heights. This is when Sendo looks up, having a completely different vision. It's almost like a target within his eye. Pinpoint accuracy, sending a perfect pass to the king. Baru was right there, as he was only being guarded by Raichi. And he got ready to trap the ball, but out of nowhere, Isagi jumps into the air, letting his chest get it. Good work, you lousy king. Isagi then controls it, volleying it into the net. Isagi and Sendo are then seen to have an even better chemical reaction here, thanks to Sendo's new vision and Isagi's upgraded metavision. Snuffy begins to chuckle, telling the world's #1 that Isagi is just like his old rival, using those around him to get what he wants. Noah calls this strategy pathetic, and Snuffy checks him, saying he needs to be careful with his words. Bastard Moonkin now has possession of the ball and goes through their usual plays, trying to get Kaiser a goal. But remember, Kira is here as well, working around everyone. But because of this, Lorenzo would be able to deflect the Kaiser impact, and Kira is the one here to pick up the pieces with a left-footed knuckleball, as it looks like it was about to go in. It was then blocked by the head of Oliver Aiku, and then Ryu traps it. Sorry, kid, but it may look like we have one goalkeeper, but in actuality, we have 3. This is when the Uber's iron wall was shown, as Ryu gives it to Nico, who is contested by Kunigami. So he drops it off once again with a backheel pass to Lorenzo. Now having possession once again, his zombie dribbling carries him up the field as he makes it to the goal. Kaiser wonders who would get the ball, Isagi or Baru, but Lorenzo does a backheel pass, sending it to Sendo. Nice pass, you freak. Anytime, Mr. Eagle Vision. Sendo then scoffs at this nickname, but uses his pinpoint accuracy to send a shot right to goal, with everyone stops, believing it to go in. But it actually hits the right side post, and Sendo tells them that it was never a shot in the first place, as no one could see it, but Isagi could, getting the rebound to score another goal on Gagamaru. Baru was even more infuriated. Being used like this, he couldn't do anything. In a similar fashion to Nagi, he begins to lose his ego and is subbed out due to Noah subbing in for Kunigami on the opposing side. So Snuffy has to take Baru out for himself, claiming that this to be the climax of yet another win. He would be right, as even with Noah, Germany struggled to get open for a shot, with everything being read by the defenders of Italy. Isagi once again scores the final goal, but he does so with a bicycle kick that would leave the world in shock. Kaiser told Isagi that this wasn't over, but it truly was, as Isagi was now in the realm of the world-class players, and he showed his true strength in the next match against England, where he scored without the passes of Sendo, showing that he could create opportunities for himself as a striker. Meaning that here, the Ubers would go undefeated in the Neo-Egoist League, with Jinpachi Ego returning to his son, telling him that he was the world's current #1 striker under 20. But he asked if that satisfied him enough, and Isagi stated no, as he was still chasing after Noah. His father smiled, as we see the two of them begin to prepare for something even greater to come. As this is where our story would conclude. I hope you all enjoyed it, as this is Zero, and I'll catch you all on the next one.